This video is about using trigonometry to solve for a side of a right triangle. So the goal is I can solve for a side of a right triangle using trigonometry. So to remember from the trig ratios unit, we have sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the directions state, find x and round your answer to the nearest tens place. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and label the sides that are given. So from the 25 degrees, across from the 25 degrees, we have x, which is our opposite. And then the 18 is our adjacent. So opposite and adjacent uses tangent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write tangent of our angle, which is 25 degrees, equals our opposite side, which is x, over 18. Now in order to solve for x, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 18. So now 18 divided by 18, that cancels, and we have x equals 18 times tangent of 25 degrees. Now what you're going to want to do is type this in your calculator. So you're going to type 18 times tangent of 25. And you'll get the answer, x equals 8.39, and we're rounding to the nearest tens place, so that's going to be 8.4. Okay, let's try number 2. So from my angle, I'm going to label my two sides that are given. So I have the hypotenuse and I have my adjacent side. So therefore, I'm going to be able to use cosine. So I'm going to write my equation, cosine of the angle, which is 70, equals adjacent, which is 15 over the hypotenuse, which is x. Now in order to solve for x, first I need to get x on the numerator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So now x divided by x cancels, and I have x times cosine of 70 degrees equals 15. Now to continue to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by cosine of 70 degrees. So cosine of 70 degrees divided by cosine of 70 degrees, that cancels, that makes 1. So now we have x equals 15 divided by cosine of 70 degrees. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put that in your calculator. 15 divided by cosine of 70 degrees. And we got 43.85. So rounding that to the nearest tens place, we'll get x equals 43.9. Last problem, number 3. So looking from the angle that's given, the 61 degrees, going across from it, we have the 24, which is the opposite. And then across from the right angle, we have our hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So I'm going to do sine of 61 degrees equals opposite, which is 24, over our hypotenuse, which is x. Now I'm going to show you a little shortcut, a little trick to do this. When the x is in the denominator, if I wrote sine of 61 degrees as a fraction, so sine of 61 degrees over 1, there's a rule for proportions where you can switch the x and the sine of 61 degrees. So automatically, if I switch those two numbers, I'm going to get x equals 24 divided by sine of 61 degrees. Now, this would have worked the same way if you wanted to solve it the same way as number 2. This is a little shortcut that you can use, knowing the properties of proportions. Now, I want to note, though, that this only works when the x is in the denominator. So now, after entering this in your calculator, 24 divided by sine of 61 degrees, you're going to get x is equal to 27.44, and rounding this to the tenths place, we get 27.4.